School leaders spend hours and hours drafting emails, reports, going to meetings, whatever it may be. But we also know that AI can change all of that. So we're just going to go through 10 different prompts that you can use as a school leader, and these will save you hours and hours every single week so you can go back to focusing on what matters most. My name is William Gruby. I'm the founder of Groovy Education, and I've integrated AI into all of these schools here. We also work with different state-level admin organizations all across the nation to help their members use AI effectively as well. So in this video, we're just going to go through the 10 prompts listed in this document here and also be sharing just different tips and tricks on how to use AI as we go through these 10 prompts. And if you want this document, you'll just want to go to the first link in the description. You want to click on that link and it will allow you to access this document. You'll just type in your email, click on get resource, whatever it will say, and then it will redirect you to this page, but it's also going to send a copy to your email so you always have it somewhere. Additionally, it's in the school community. That's also linked up in the description. That'll be the second link there. And if you're in the classroom tab, you'll see AI Toolkit for Schools. This is just going to list out all of the resources that we use with the schools and the organizations that we work with. And the first one right up top will say 10 AI prompts that will save you hours. You can click on it and it'll open it up. Also, we just finished our AI policy blueprint that's in the school community, but this is the most comprehensive step-by-step guide on how to draft your AI policy at your school. So I highly recommend checking that out. Let's get right into this document. It just says how to use this resource, open up ChatGPT. So of course, we're just going to use all of these prompts in ChatGPT, or you can use whatever large language model that you prefer, whether it's Gemini, Claude, whatever works. I typically use ChatGPT, so we'll go with that. And we'll simply be copying and pasting the prompts below, but these prompts have square brackets in them. This is where we can specify our own details. For example, this first prompt is for handling difficult parent emails, so getting wording for an email that we have to be crafty about to make sure we don't upset anybody. But it just says act as a, and then it has little square brackets here where we can put our position. But it says act as a certain position. We receive an email from a parent who's upset about a specific issue. Please draft a tactful, empathetic, and professional email that acknowledges the parent's feelings, clarifies any misunderstandings, and outlines the steps the school has taken or will take to address the issue. And then here it just says include the following points, and we can just put in what we want to include in the email. So to use this, I'm just going to highlight it and copy it and then head over to ChatGPT and paste it in. Then I'm just going to put in here that I am a principal, and let's say we received a email from a parent who's upset about maybe student got caught using AI to complete whole essay. Let's say parent says student would never do that. It's a pretty good one there. And then for the points we want to include, maybe we want to say this is against our policy. And then you're always just going to want to give ChatGPT all of the context that you have that you would put into drafting this email. So in this case, I said this is against our policy. I would just put in here maybe here is our policy. And then I just paste in the policy. I copy and paste it in. Again, you can draft some policy going through that AI policy blueprint in the school community. Of course, I don't have any policy, so I am just going to maybe head over to ChatGPT and say draft a AI plagiarism policy. This is an example of a not good prompt. You would not want to do this. I'm just going to get this so I can show you how I would do this. All right. So here I'm just going to grab the start of this. I'm going to head back over to ChatGPT. And a little pro tip here, if you press on Shift and then you click on Return, it won't send the prompt through, but it'll give you a new line so you can go and paste that in. And that's all I have to put. And I can send this through, and then it's just going to draft an email. And it's going to say, hey, this violates our policy. Here's where it violates the policy. And it's going to go ahead and draft that email. And if it ever gets a little too wordy, in this case, it doesn't look like it got too wordy, but of course you're not going to want to copy and paste this in your Gmail and send it off. You're going to want to go in and make sure it's worded exactly how you want it and it's not too wordy and things of that nature, but we can get a very solid first draft here. You can always say things like make it less wordy and more straightforward, and it will just revise that. The number one mistake people make when using ChatGPT is stopping at one prompt. If you first don't like the output, follow it up with exactly what you don't like about it, and you're just going to get an instantly revised version. But prompt 2 here says staff memos and announcements, and it says act as a principal. Draft a Monday staff memo summarizing key events from the week, important deadlines, and a motivational quote to start the week strong. Keep the wording very clear and straightforward, write in a way where no one will get confused. Here's what you should include. So in this case, sending out the start of the week little brief of what's all going on this week. You could very easily take a prompt like this. I'm just going to start a new chat here with the new chat button in the top left corner of ChatGPT. Paste this in, and maybe I just want to say it is prom on Friday, and we are still looking for 2 people to help supervise. Send that through, and you'll get a nice memo for your staff, and it'll even fill in everything for you. Now, in this case, of course, I was very vague in where I put here is what you should include, but here's where you can literally just context dump. You can just say anything that you know is going on. It doesn't have to be in perfect sentences. It doesn't have to be formatted nicely. The grammar doesn't have to be there. You just really want to context dump and give ChatGPT all of the context that you have. Doesn't have to be pretty. Just get it all out there. When I'm using ChatGPT, rarely ever is everything perfect sentences and things like that. I'm just making sure ChatGPT has all of the context that I have to make sure it includes everything that I want it to include and takes into account everything that I want it to take into account. So of course we can use it for something like that. I think the biggest tip here is here where it says here's what you should include, again, just context dump everything that you can think of that you want to include, and then let ChatGPT do all the organizing for you. But the third prompt here says staff improvement plans. So here we have an interesting one. It says act as if you are a specific role. You are struggling with your tech coach. Not only do they have a sarcastic and off-putting personality, but you also haven't seen any results from their work over the past year and a half. Please write an improvement plan and suggest activities for this improvement plan. So I could take a prompt like this one and draft improvement plans in just a matter of seconds. Maybe I'm a superintendent for this one. Send that through, and it is going to go ahead and do that. So maybe you observe somebody's not doing their job correctly and you want to create an improvement plan, but you take a step back and think about how much time that would probably take to draft that whole improvement plan and make it exactly what you want. But with ChatGPT, you can get the improvement plan very, very quickly, at least a draft of it, so you could then go in and edit everything to exactly what you want. And just a little key tip here, ChatGPT has this thing called the canvas. So if you say something like put it in the canvas, ChatGPT is going to open up this document here, and it's going to put that same thing into a canvas, and this just allows you to go in and edit it just like a Word document without leaving ChatGPT. So what you used to have to do is copy this, go and start a new document, and this is still something that you could do, and paste it in, and then go in and edit it. But ChatGPT added the canvas feature that'll just put it on the right side of your screen, and then you can go in and edit it just like a Word document. So if I want to take anything out, I can do that. I can type in here, but also I can just highlight specific sections. Like maybe I want to take this, and I just want to say, you'll see when I highlight here, this little Ask ChatGPT bubble comes up. I can click on Ask ChatGPT, and I'll just say, make this section far more clear. Send it through, And then ChatGPT will just go in and edit that one section instead of just like redrafting the whole thing when I just wanted to edit that one section. So that is the ChatGPT canvas. You can see it doing it here. It's going to highlight all of it, and then it's just going to rewrite it. So little pro tip there. Additionally, with something like this, maybe we're thinking about the difficult conversation that we're going to have with this tech coach. I could say, give me answers to difficult questions the tech coach may ask during our conversation. Or I could say, hey, role play this conversation. And then it'll put difficult questions that they may ask and give you some mock answers for them. If you already know specific questions that they're going to ask, or since you know the person much better than ChatGPT does, you can say, hey, when they say this, what can I say? And ChatGPT will give you good mock answers here. All right. Next up, we have teacher evaluations. So here I just have act as a school principal, draft the teacher evaluation for a 10th grade English teacher who excels in student engagement but needs improvement in classroom management. Use a supportive and constructive tone. Here are my notes from the evaluation. And then I could literally just copy and paste those notes right into ChatGPT. So if I had here, and then I could just copy and paste in some notes. I don't have any, so I'm just going to take this out. What you could also do is say, hey, here's a template. Here's the template that I typically use for my teacher evaluations. Put it in this template, paste it in. Or hey, here's a teacher evaluation that I've done in the past. Write it in my writing style. Write it how I like it written. Then you'll be able to send it through and complete that teacher evaluation. So it can be super time saving with that. I've also seen different school leaders use it for situations like this. Say they're just walking around the school and they observe a teacher do something that they really like. They could like quick jot it down on their phone. Then when they get back to their office, they can open their phone and just say, hey, draft a message that I can send off to this teacher, expressing how thankful I am that they're doing this at the school. Paste it in. It'll do that. They can send that message off. So just things like that, different things that you observe around the school. You can really turn it into anything that you want to congratulate people, thank them, tell them how to improve, etc. Next up, we have coaching feedback for teachers. Here I have, this is a situation where, so I'll just read it aloud. It says, act as if you're a high school principal coaching a teacher on their instruction. Though you lack the expertise of AP Physics, you recognize that they're not aligning it with standards, and the alignment between what they teach and what students are learning. It says, you recognize that the teacher struggles with alignment between what they teach and what the students learn. So here's a situation where we don't have we're not an expert on AP Physics, we just know the teacher's not doing a good job. The teacher has a wide variety of engaging lessons and lab activities, but you are unable to see a structure based on the standard the teacher needs to teach and the evidence-based outcomes demonstrating student proficiency of those standards. Provide me with some notes to include in the teacher evaluations and things I can say to the teacher in our coaching conversations. So in a situation like this, we just don't have the expertise when it comes to AP Physics, but we want to be able to coach this teacher still, so we can go ahead and get some teacher eval notes and some coaching conversation talking points as well. Just a cool way to use it. Next up, well, I'll hit on this a little bit more. Why this is so nice is because we take for granted how great of a tool that ChatGPT is. We have this thing that has a wider base of knowledge than any one person has that we can go to 24/7 around the clock. Where we're not an expert in AP Physics, ChatGPT is much, much better at AP Physics. We'll be able to go to ChatGPT and ask these types of questions. We just have this thing in our computer that, again, has a wider base of knowledge than any one person has that we can always go to. Really, really fantastic tool. 6 is student behavior and discipline plans. So this is, as a principal, develop a behavior plan for students who have shown these behavioral issues. Ensure the plan includes objectives, behavior expectations, monitoring methods, and potential interventions or rewards. Consider how to involve teachers, parents, and other staff in the process. Design it to be implemented over a specific time frame. Ensure the plan aligns with these policies, and we can paste in any relevant policies. So in this case, we need a behavior plan that follows school policy. And if you think about sitting down and drafting that whole thing out, that's a very, very long process. But if you just tell ChatGPT exactly what you need and say, hey, do this thing based off of policy. Here's our school policy. Or a little tip that I'll show you with this one is I'm going to paste this in, but then in the bottom left corner, we're going to see this little plus button. And here's where you can just attach any file onto your prompt. So I'll press on upload from computer, and I'm just going to do a search here for policy. Maybe I have something in here from a training that I've done in the past. I'll just grab this one. This is AI policy landscape, I guess. So if I click on this, it's going to attach right onto the prompt. So act like this is my policy that I need ChatGPT to have. I can just say the student, let's say, is not using, or let's just say student who keeps on breaking their 1-to-1 tech device. And I want this to be implemented over a 30-day time frame. And I'll just say ensure the plan aligns with the attached policies. Send that through, and now ChatGPT has access to this policy, and it's going to go ahead and draft that based off of that policy. So always remember, you can attach anything to your prompts by just hitting the plus button in the bottom left corner, click on upload from computer, or you can even add it from your Google Drive as well. All right. So attendance and performance data analysis. So here is one that is massive, and I'll be doing videos on data analysis, lots and lots of them on specific ways that you can use it for data analysis. In this case, we just have some attendance data. And I realize I forgot to link up some mock attendance data. All right, so you can see in the document here, I now linked up some mock attendance data that you can use to just try this out. Just a Google Sheet here. And it just has the date, the attendance rate for that date, absences due to illnesses, absences due to events, and unexcused absences. And then you're just going to want to download this to your computer so you can attach it onto your ChatGPT prompt. You can go File in the top left corner and then Download Microsoft Excel. It'll download a copy to your computer. And then we're just going to ask ChatGPT to analyze the attendance data in the attached Excel file, creating visualizations for the attendance rate trends and distribution of absences reasons over time. Then give me ideas on how I can improve attendance rates. So I can head over to ChatGPT and I can attach that document that I just downloaded, or that Excel file, paste the prompt in, send it through, and ChatGPT will do your data analysis for you. Now on the free side of ChatGPT, it's only going to allow you to do this probably around 1 to 2 times per day. Then it's going to say, hey, you're cut off on doing data analysis for 24 hours, or it gives you a specific time when you can start back up again. But if you pay the $20 per month for the paid version of ChatGPT, you can do this unlimited times, anytime throughout the day. I highly recommend paying for ChatGPT the $20. It's very, very worth it, and you will use the paid stuff a lot. But ChatGPT will give you these nice graphs for whatever you want to do. If you ever want to see what it's doing, you can click on Analyze, and it will show you the code that it ran to create these graphs. And then it will give us observations from the data and strategies to improve attendance rates. So you can do this with really any data. Just remember, if your data has student data in it, you cannot send any personal identifiers of our students or their parents into ChatGPT. So you'd have to anonymize the data by taking out the student name column, taking out the student ID column, any personal identifiers. You just want to take those columns out. And you can find a guide to data privacy with AI in the school community in our toolkit for schools. And you will see a school's guide to data privacy with AI, and it will outline how to keep student data safe. So that is there. But data analysis is massive. Next up, we have professional development planning. So here we have act as a school leader planning a professional development day focused on, and here's where we can put any topic or topics that we want it to do. It says create a detailed agenda that includes session topics. Each session should be 60 minutes. We will go from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. We'll have a lunch break from 12 to 1. Then draft an email inviting teachers to volunteer to lead one of the breakout sessions. The email should outline the event details, available topics, and a call to action for interested teachers to sign up. So simultaneously, you could get a nice outline of different session topics that you would want your teachers to go through. Then you could even just do like a staff-led PD day. Maybe I just want to put using AI in for classroom content generation for our topic, and then teachers can just apply to or say, hey, I can do this one, I can teach the other teachers how I use it to create lesson plans or to create in-class activities or whatever it may be. And ChatGPT will give you a nice outline of how you can structure the day. We have welcome and introduction, session 1, AI-powered lesson planning, session 2, AI for differentiation and personalization, session 3, AI for assessment and feedback. There's our lunch break, and we'll just go through all of these. This differentiation and personalization is such a huge way that teachers can be using it. We do have a resource in here, assignment modification with ChatGPT, that gives teachers a lot of prompts that they can use to personalize instructions. But it'll go ahead and do that, and then simultaneously we'll get our email inviting teachers to say that they can lead specific sessions from the PD day. Next up, we have grants. So this is huge, drafting grants, tying in like multiple pieces of content. Hey, here's what the grant providers want. Here's what we're doing. Connect it, sort of thing. So it says, hey, you're a school leader applying for a grant to support whatever specific initiative. Draft a compelling grant proposal that outlines the initiative's goals, expected impact, required resources, implementation timeline, and measurable success indicators. Ensure the proposal aligns with these grant provider priorities, and include a budget breakdown detailing projected cost. Here's more information that you will need to write it. And here's where you're just going to want to do that context dump. So I can go in here and I can just connect the two pretty much. So maybe this is to support teachers using AI, and the grant provider priorities, maybe it's just meeting the needs of diverse learners. And here's where we can do the context dump. Maybe we are bringing in Groovy education to train our teachers. They will have a half-day workshop and a year's access to an online training portal where they can go in and dive deeper. A huge topic in the training is how they can use AI to meet the needs of diverse learners. Send that through, and it'll just connect those two dots for you. It's even putting it in a nice canvas for us so we can go in and continue to edit this further to make it exactly what we want. So AI is just a massive tool, and say, I know we're in the prompt where it says you need the grant provider priorities. You could literally just copy and paste all of the content from whatever they give you. Here's what they say we need that how to apply for the grant, paste it in there. Here's what we're doing, context dump that, and it'll just connect the two for you and write it all pretty as well. It's a huge tool for that. And then lastly, we have, this one actually involves a couple of prompts. There's 5 different prompts. But here we can just see how we can use ChatGPT through a whole request for bids campaign. So from creating the request for bid advertisement all the way to awarding the specific district. So here the example they use is snow removal services. So we're acting as a superintendent and are seeking contract for snow removal services for the 4 facilities in our district. Write a request for bid advertisement with as much detail as you can. I will fill out the rest. So you can really use ChatGPT in so many different aspects of business services. Maybe we're in Minnesota. Send that through. And really any piece of, whether it's contract, whether it is a request for bid advertisement, a request for proposal, a memorandum of understanding, anything that has to do with business services, ChatGPT can be such a great tool in just knocking it out quickly for you. But the next prompt says, hey, make an objective scoring rubric so we can grade the proposals that do come in, or the bids that do come in rather. I can paste that in, and ChatGPT is going to give us a nice table to grade the bids. I could say the specific criteria that I want it to include if I had something in mind already. But the next says, please write letters to the respondents. Write 1 letter we will use for the award recipient and another letter for those who are not selecting for the services. So here the next step, okay, now I have to let everybody know, hey, you didn't get it, and let the rest of the people know, hey, you did get it. And I need to craft those letters. Well, of course, ChatGPT can craft them both simultaneously so we can move this project forward faster. Next up, we have writing a memo to our school board that outlines the snow removal services bid process and recommends that they award it to the to reward the bid to the recipient I selected, explain the process, and detail the steps that we took. So in this case, it knows that, hey, we used this rubric. If I wasn't in the same chat, I could give ChatGPT the process that I used. Hey, here's how we graded the bids that came in. But now we're going to get our memo for the school board. And then the last step would be making it says my district is XYZ public school and we awarded XYZ snow removal. Please draft the contract. So making the contract. And that would be the last step is, okay, now we went through the whole process. Now we need to get a contract over to the winner. And ChatGPT is a great tool for creating contracts, and it is above the 90th percentile in the uniform bar exam, the exams that our lawyers take. So I can send this through, and then we'll go ahead and create our snow removal services contract. So you can use it through the full process of drafting, the full process of a request for bids campaign, and really any business service activities. But the next steps for this is I do have a document linked up at the end of this document that just lists out a bunch of different ways that you can use ChatGPT for data analysis. So I highly recommend checking that out. Again, the first link in the description is where you will find this document here. If you like videos like this that are super applicable and things you can take and implement right away and just different AI tips and tricks that you can use to integrate AI into workflow and to your school, I highly recommend subscribing. I'll be posting many more videos like this and even more diving into specific things.